Now on CoastTV News.
An emotional story how this Easton pastor kept his faith while detained by ICE.
Four-way stop proposed in Millsboro. The town says it's needed. Neighbors say it won't help.
Police enforcement in Ocean City. What rules may cost people a lot more if they break them?
And we are totally clearing out across the Delaware Peninsula, but chilly conditions are about to swoop in right behind it.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
An exclusive CoastTV News interview. This man describes what it's like to be held in an immigration facility. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Our top story tonight is faith under ICE.
It's an incredible story that we never hear about. We hear every day about immigration detentions, but we don't hear what it's like when you are detained until now. Easton pastor Daniel Fuentes Espinal was detained by ICE this summer. This all happened after he was pulled over, but ultimately he was released on bond weeks later. CoastTV News reporter Ana Sofia Roman in the newsroom. Ana Sofia, the pastor shared his story with you from the moment he was detained.
Maddie, Pastor Fuentes Espinal came to the U.S. on a visa over 20 years ago. He says he tried to get legal status, but admits he was unsuccessful and did not pursue it further. In the meantime, he became a pastor and a beloved member of the Easton community. 24 years after arriving in America, the pastor was detained and transferred thousands of miles away from his family.
Pastor Daniel Fuentes Espinal sits comfortably in his church lounge reading, something he couldn't do for weeks after his life took an unexpected turn last July. He says, like this man and thousands of others, he was detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. In his case, he was pulled over here on this road in Easton on his way to work.
Yo le di mi licencia.
I handed him my license. Then he asked if I could please step out of my vehicle, and I did. When I was standing in the back, he asked me the usual question. He said, "Are you here legally or illegally in this country?" And I told him, "Well, I can't answer that question because my attorney isn't here."
What was the first thing that came to mind?
En ese momento quizás no había tiempo de
At that moment, maybe there wasn't much time to think, just to believe that all of this had to be part of the Lord's purpose. Of course, in that moment, I thought about my family, my wife, how they would be, how they would feel. Yet beyond that, there was peace in my heart.
Pastor Fuentes Espinal was first taken to this ICE field office in Salisbury, where he was there for only a couple of hours. He was then transferred here to the Baltimore ICE field office. This is footage shot by an NBC affiliate. These holding rooms are inside the George Fallon Federal Building in Baltimore. The holding rooms are now at the center of this federal class action lawsuit over alleged inhumane conditions, which ICE denies. Maryland lawmakers, including U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen, toured the facility in August after being denied access in late July.
Ahí estuvimos 3 días y medio.
We were there for 3.5 days. It wasn't the best place with the best conditions, but we had to go through that process. During those 3 nights we spent there, we slept on the concrete floor without sheets, just a simple aluminum blanket that they give out.
This is video of an aluminum blanket. After Baltimore, Pastor Fuentes Espinal was transferred again, this time thousands of miles away, to the Wynn Correctional Center in Louisiana.
Why are they moving us so far away when they could have left us in closer states where family could even visit us too? What came to my mind was that maybe I wouldn't be able to see my children for a long time because I didn't know how long they were going to keep me detained, or how long it would take for them to deport me, or how long it would take for me to be able to leave the place free.
It was an experience, he says, was terrifying at first.
Well, of course, there's sadness. There's uncertainty. What's going to happen?
Pastor Fuentes Espinal was in Louisiana for about 3 weeks. There, he formed a ministry that kept him going. Back to you.
Ana Sofia, thank you. On CoastTV News at 6, we take you to the ICE facility in Louisiana, and we hear from our exclusive interview with Pastor Fuentes Espinal about how he created a ministry among all the detainees, and he describes the emotional moment he was released and reunited with his family when he didn't know when he'd ever see them again. That part of Faith Under Ice at 6.
This brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, what is your biggest concern about immigration today?
Let's take a look at the results so far. 40% say human rights, 48% say border safety, 3% say delayed courts, and 9% say the broken system.
If you haven't voted yet, you can still do that at coasttv.com or use our mobile app.
All drive-on surf fishing crossings remain closed due to current beach conditions. Here's a shot of that right now in Cape Henlopen State Park. The park says it will continue to monitor the crossings and provide updates as conditions change.
Now let's take a live look into the Lewis area. We've got a nice little pink sky there as we check in with our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams. Paul, how's it going tonight?
Well, as we take a look in Lewis right now, we're starting to see the skies clear up for us, and we're starting to get a bit on the chilly side, and we're going to go from chilly to downright cold eventually throughout the long-range forecast. But as of right now, we're in chill mode, literally and figuratively. We'll drop to 53 and mostly clear skies in Lewis. Now, here's where we stand right now as far as the radar is concerned. Precipitation from early this morning, it's now cleared the board. We're not expecting any additional precipitation for the rest of the evening, but the winds are going to still stay a little bit whipped up, at the very least 25 miles per hour. So we're looking at a small craft advisory that's active for Lewis, Ocean View down towards Fenwick Island, watching out for 25 mile per hour wind gusts from Ocean City all the way down towards Chincoteague. And in addition to that, on the other side, we're expecting for it to stay breezy as well. Overall, we're seeing the clouds and the sun and the clouds and the rain clearing out. More on your full forecast in a moment. Till then, back to you.
At the intersection of Delaware and Laurel Avenue in Millsboro, you'll find 2 stop signs. A decision at tonight's town council meeting could change it to a 4-way stop. Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson is live in Millsboro. Brandon, one Millsboro councilman says a 4-way stop is needed.
But Charlie, neighbors we spoke with that use this intersection every day says the town should consider putting a traffic circle or a traffic light here to alleviate some of the problems. One neighbor even telling us in the morning hours when traffic is the worst here on Delaware Avenue, it gets lined all the way to Route 113, making it hard for some people to even leave their driveway. Millsboro Council member Marty Presley said in a meeting with DelDOT that this intersection is difficult to use even with no beach traffic and something needs to change. But one man Coast TV spoke with says any change is just going to make things worse.
A 4-way stop is just going to cause more traffic both ways.
Millsboro Town Manager Jamie Burke says the town isn't completely against putting a traffic light here, but this 4-way stop proposal is more time-friendly than what DelDOT says is a 2 to 3 year process if the town was to move forward with a traffic light here. This meeting is tonight at 7, where a decision will be made. Live in Millsboro, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Some fines in Ocean City could cost you a whole lot more if a new ordinance passes tonight. Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zappe is live in Ocean City. Kevin, a variety of infractions could have much higher fees.
Maddie, this potential increase could affect things like parking violations, littering, public alcohol offenses, and more. Now, on Monday, the Ocean City Council will hold a second reading that would increase the maximum fines for municipal infractions and misdemeanors. For example, a noise complaint that currently carries a maximum fine of $1,000 could, under the new law, balloon up to a maximum $5,000 fine. One vacationer who's been visiting Ocean City for more than 30 years says the current maximum fine of $1,000 is already more than enough.
I feel that $1,000 is sufficient. I think $5,000 is kind of over the top on something like that. I don't think that needs to be implicated, putting $5,000 fine on something like that.
Now, though the maximum fine could be increasing, most of the fines here in town range between $25 and up. So the second reading tonight, if it does pass, that'll give the option for Ocean City to hand out those higher fines for those repeated or serious violations. I'm Kevin Zappe, live in Ocean City, Coast TV News.
A road closure in Millville right now. DelDOT says Railway Road between Old Mill Road and Pine Street is closing to install a crossroad pipe. That's the area you see here. DelDOT says expect that closure until Wednesday.
The Delaware State Police says it has become the first state police agency to complete the International Association of Chiefs of Police Trust Building campaign. State police say the agency completed the campaign's 25 key practices, including the use of force and bias-free policing, ahead of schedule.
The White House says it will partially fund SNAP. That's the federal food assistance program that aids millions of Americans. But when that relief will come is up in the air.
And with the government shut down, touching just about every aspect of American life, NBC's Yamiche Alcindor shows us what a new NBC poll shows and what Americans think about each party.
Today, relief could be on the way for some of the millions of Americans who depend on the government for food assistance. The Trump administration saying it would use contingency funds to partially pay SNAP recipients for November. That comes after a federal judge ordered the Agriculture Department to pay out benefits. But officials say that money will only cover half of SNAP, leaving Americans in limbo and in long lines at food drives.
It makes a big difference. Now we know that we can all eat for a day or two.
On Wednesday, this will become the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. But Republicans and Democrats remain locked in a standoff over health care, with neither party willing to budge. Last night in a 60 Minutes interview, President Trump putting the blame completely on Democrats.
The Republicans are voting almost unanimously to end it, and the Democrats keep voting against ending it.
But a new NBC News poll shows Americans blame Republicans and President Trump more for the shutdown. The president's approval rating has fallen to 43%, down from last spring. In fact, most Americans say the president hasn't lived up to their expectations on most things except border security and immigration. Meanwhile, tomorrow, the country heads to the polls to vote in a slew of elections, including for 2 new governors and the race for New York City mayor. The new poll showing signs of concern for Republicans in next year's midterm elections, with 50% of Americans saying they would rather have Democrats control Congress. But neither party getting high marks from many Americans.
I think the whole system is a mess. And I think that both sides are to blame. I think the whole system is to blame. And I think that the power should be in the hands of the people.
This latest NBC News poll also shows that 66% of all voters have a high level of interest in next year's midterm elections. Yamiche Alcindor, NBC News, Washington.
Dewey Beach cleanup, how a local group is making an impact.
And as we take a look at our expectations for tonight, we'll drop into the 40s rather quickly. The chill is definitely in the air.
Downtown Dover and State Housing partner up, how a new program is hoping to help those in need. Up next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
Dover is joining a new state pilot program that's aimed at expanding affordable housing in the city. The program, run through the Delaware State Housing Authority, provides technical assistance to help municipalities update zoning and plan for growth. It was created following a state study under Senate Joint Resolution 8, which found Delaware will need 45,000 more homes by 2030. The council approved the measure, but not all city leaders are on the same page. Supporters say the program is needed to guide Dover's development, while others worry it could overstep local authority.
This type of thing will provide assistance with accessory dwelling units, building height changes, increasing density, things of that nature that could help better serve the population.
It's an issue that we've been conscious of for many, many years, and it's one of the issues that we think is very important. However, the most important issue is the encroachment on local jurisdiction and authority.
The next steps include selecting consultants to assist municipalities with the project, expected to start in early January.
Coming up next, Paul Williams and the Coast TV First Alert Weather Center with your full forecast after this.
Right now, we are seeing a pattern of all the clouds and, of course, the rain from earlier this morning. That's clearing out of our way perfectly. Now, for the next couple of days, it's going to be a very bright, beautiful kind of a forecast, but you better wear your long sleeves now. Don't catch me in the parking lot or at the grocery store. Act like I didn't tell you. You will need your long sleeves for the next few days in a row, and next week, you're going to need your coat. Just let that sit there for a minute. Okay. Back to our regularly scheduled forecast. In Ocean View, we're going to drop back into the lower 50s under mostly clear skies. Expect for the winds to still stay a little bit gusty because we're still expecting 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And it's important that you remember that the waves are going to be a little bit aggressive close to the shore. So please keep that in mind in case you're going to matriculate somewhere close to the beach for the next couple of days. And we have that same concern for 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts throughout the Chesapeake Bay as well. But overall, we're clear. We have a trough that's pulled through, and that helped to create the opportunity for precipitation. But this secondary trough is not one that's going to bring in a lot of juice with it, okay? It's just going to stay relatively inert. That's a fancy way of saying doing nothing, okay? But it's going to stay basically inert for the most part. Overnight lows, we drop to 40 degrees, if not close to 39. We'll have clear skies, relatively light winds. Now, the normal high for today is about 59. Today the high today is 59, pardon me. The normal high is 63. So we've been falling a little bit below those numbers. We're at 55 degrees not only in Dagsboro, but also 55, for example, in Rehoboth. And for the past month, how have we been splitting this up? To be quite honest, even Steven, just as many days below the norm as above the norm for the past 31 days. But I think we're going to start trending colder, particularly as we go deeper into the fall and particularly for this winter. Temperatures will stay in the 60s, actually. 60 will stand with a sunny disposition, even though we'll be in the upper 50s to lower 60s, but lots of sunshine and the winds out of the west. 7 o'clock for this evening, we're in the 50s, and then for midnight Tuesday, we're in the lower 50s. We dip into the 40s briefly, and then we rebound back into the lower 60s. Now, you'll notice as we're dancing throughout the time frame here, you hardly see a cloud in the sky. That's not going to be the concern. The concern is going to be the winds. Look at these winds coming out of the northwest at 30 miles per hour, for example, midnight. Then near 30 miles per hour for the entire county by lunchtime Tuesday. And then as we go into Wednesday, the winds shift direction. That helps. Makes you feel a little warmer, but we're still looking at 30-mile-per-hour winds, and then we're near 40-mile-per-hour winds for Wednesday night going into Thursday. Peak foliage, by the way, we're in that time period where it's going to be the best time to take a picture. I think I just dated myself by doing that. That's what you use for disposable cameras. Here, click. There, that's for the regular telephone, okay? And then for Saturday, we'll have a chance of scattered showers pushing across, but it's looking like a one-trick pony as far as that's concerned. So rehashing our expectations. 45 tonight, clear and chilly. 62 for tomorrow with abundant sunshine, a few clouds here and there, but not much. And then for Wednesday, hey, we warmed to like 69. It's going to be sunny again and even a little bit warmer thanks to that winds coming out of the southwest. Finally, here's a look at your extended forecast.
Paul, thank you. Keeping Dewey Beach clean, that was the Surfrider Foundation's goal at its recent cleanup crawl in Dewey. The environmental group says 11 million tons of plastic enters oceans every single year, and cleanups like this one in Dewey Beach are absolutely key in combating that.
Coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network, your game of the night at 6:30 p.m. It's Stellar Fights 70. Then catch the final score at 10:30 p.m. And coming up, Maryland's Tuckahoe State Park turns 50. How it's honoring Black history. Stay tuned on CoastTV News at 5. The Maryland Park Service celebrated 50 years of Tuckahoe State Park on the Eastern Shore and honored 2 pillars of Black Maryland history. The service dedicated more than 5 miles of trails to abolitionist Anna Murray Douglas and the former Sandtown community. Maryland leaders say that the move recognizes lives of courage and resilience and community spirit.
Virginia is about to make history with its first female governor. Republican Winsome Earl Sears and Democrat Abigail Spanberger are locked in a tight race ahead of Tuesday's election. Earl Sears is serving as lieutenant governor to current Governor Glenn Youngkin. Spanberger is a former CIA officer and a congresswoman. Let's take a live look now into Dover. One final check on our forecast after this.
In Dover, we fall to the lower 50s. We're looking relatively clear for right now. Want to be mindful that we still are bracing for some very blustery conditions along the beaches for 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Aside from that, we should stay pretty clear. Our umbrella giveaway winner is Harold Hamilton of Salisbury. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. And we call our weather line. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Brockstead, Mandalis, and Federico. And here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. One quick note. You see that next Monday? You see that next Monday. All I'm going to say is, you see that next Monday.
I see those 4 letters that say COLD.
Yeah, that's code for cold.
It's here.
It's Thank you, Paul. Even though we don't like it, thank you. And hey, thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.